Hi you guys, happy Tuesday. Welcome to my channel, Wholesaling. My name is Kong. Now in this video, I'm going to share with you guys how I was able to train anybody up. I was able to train anybody up on our team. So any employee that we're going to hire, how I was able to train them up using my products, the amazing seller script for virtual wholesaling houses, how they don't need to have any experience, any knowledge. These are girls that are in their 20s, they're in their 20s, and how we're able to train them up with my products, and they're able to lock deals and tie them up under contract just by over the phone. All right, now this is for those of you who's having trouble talking to seller, whose communication is huge. If you're having problem talking to seller, if you don't know how, if you never locked deal up properly up under contract over the phone before, then I believe this product is for you. Now, I didn't wake up and wanted to do a video like this, but I woke up and I got a lot of you guys' email that have purchased the products before and saying how amazing it is and how it's working, and how that there are questions in there that you never even thought about asking the seller, and how great it is, and how it has helped you so far already. And it makes me feel good, and it just makes me feel pumped. Besides coming out with this products, making money on it, I just feel like I'm making a difference, and I'm contributing something, to people that are like, merging into this business and want to learn it and wants to, to be good and to be great at it and to be successful at it. And because that's how I felt when I first come into, is finding stuff that I can help me, in this business. And to make it successful and to create a career out of it. All right. So anyways, this video for those of you who are on that page about wanting to find something that's going to help you crush it on the phone, that's going to help you be able to be a better communicator, and also to be able to tie these property up under contract over the phone virtually without ever seeing the seller, the property. You have to be able to know how to talk to them and communicate with them, asking the right question and being able to handle their objections. All right, because a lot of times, so in my script, doesn't matter what the seller say, if you don't have an answer to it, I have a perfect objections for that. And that's how we're able to train these girls up, knowing nothing about it, and they don't have to, and when the seller talk to them, right, it doesn't give off the wrong vibe. And the question is, so we train our girl up, any sellers that calls in, and let me give you an example of what is in the script. So any seller that calls in, one of the gals is going to be, their responsibility is talk to the seller, collect all the information on the property that's needed, and then transfer it. And then if there's motivation, right, if there's motivation in there, then they set up the appointment for my purchase manager, either me or one of our purchase manager, to call back and make the offer to the seller on the second phone call. And the goal is to lock it up and tie it up over the phone. All right. So let's just say when the seller calls in, and let's just say the seller asks one of my girls a question and they don't know the answer to it. We teach them is that saying, hey, that's a great question for my purchase manager or for my team manager. I don't have the answer to that. My job is only to collect all the information from you regarding the property that you're hoping to sell, so that way our purchase manager or our team manager or our company can construct you a fair and intelligent offer within 24 to 48 hours. And you guys, with that answer, that'll be able to solve a lot of you guys' issue, where if the seller asks you something where you don't know, and I always try to say is represent a company, not yourself, right? So always pretend like you're in the company with a partnership, or with me, or with whoever it is, right? Are you a part of a large, or just a part of a group of investor or a company? So that way, let's just say if you call the seller and if you act on behalf of yourself, negotiating with them, buying this property on behalf of just yourself, and they ask you a question and then you don't know the answer to it, and it's just a common, simple question, but you don't know the answer to it, how are you going to answer them and letting them know, hey, you're a professional, this is what you do for a living, you buy properties all the time, how do you not know the answer to that? All right. And that might be able to rub them the wrong way and give them the wrong vibe, where they don't want to do business with you, and instead now they want to do, they're going to call somebody else because they felt that untrust or uncertainty with you. It happens to me all the time when I first started out, right? It happened to me all the time when I first started out. You know, I was putting sign out there, I buy houses, and I was representing myself when I go out and negotiating with sellers, and I cause this tension with them because they always say, well, Colin, you probably want to get it for dirt cheap, don't you? You want to come in and steal my property, and I'm not looking to give it away, etc., right? So there's a wall that came up, right? There's this wall that came up that separates between you and them, and now it's like you're not on the same side. But when you're representing a company, so let's just say you call into Comcast or AT&T or whatever company it is, and someone answers the phone, and their job is just trying to help you out and try to see if they can help you out and get you the service or whatever the service or whatever that you need, right? How much, you know, so there's, you know, and then when you start talking about price, they say, hey, you know what, this is what our company offer, here's a price, you know, does that work for you? And then if it doesn't, then they'll be like, okay, well, let me ask my team, you know, let me ask my manager or whatever it is and see if there's something better that we can offer for you. Doesn't it feel much less tension than if you were trying to negotiate directly with the owner? So to me, once I start going at it, and then all of a sudden, I just start to shift. And I just say, you know what? When I negotiate, it just feels so. But what if, you know? And then I just start to shift. And my wife said, hey, you know what, Con? Why don't you represent? You know, why don't, instead of negotiating, when you were negotiating with the seller one-on-one, why don't you just represent a company? Because that's exactly what we did in the mall, and that's where I learned the skill set on shifting it. Because when we're working in the mall, so if you guys follow my channel, you know we bought over a little kiosk in the mall, and there was a lot of people come up, and there's people, you know, that wants to come up and start negotiating on price. And when my wife and I said, oh yeah, you know, we're the manager of this company, we're the owner of this company, oh man, the negotiation was just, it just didn't work so well. But when we're saying, hey, we're just an employee that works here, and even when they try and negotiate, you know, that's the best, you know, I really can't do anything about it, you know, it's not up to me to make that decisions. Or if they come and they cause a big drama, you know, and they're upset or mad about something, you know, they are not, you know, they felt like you're just an employee, so it's hard to take on you because you're just doing your job. And that's the thing, you guys. So when you cold call, or when you make these lowball offer to the seller and they get offended and they get upset, they're not upset with you. They're upset with the company because you're representing the company, and you say, my job is just to present you the offer, and I'm sorry if it's offended you, I'm sorry if it's upset you, but I didn't construct this offer, my team did it, and my job is just to present it, and then hopefully, you know, we can help you out and create a win-win for you and for us in being able to buy this property from you. So I apologize. And when you set a follow-up with them, it's just a lot easier that you can say, hey, you know what, our company, you know, we did a little bit more research to it. Hey, you know, we're able to offer you a little bit more on your property. Would you like to listen to our new offer? You know, it's just a lot easier, all right? A lot easier doing it that route. But you know what? That's my personal opinion from my experience and how it helped me so much, from getting a few deals to 10 to 20, 15 deals a month now, all right? So it's just so much easier that way to tie deal up on the contract, in my personal opinion. So it's up to you guys. If you guys want to, you know, if that's the route you guys want to go, or you guys still want to go where you're going to be the one that buying the property, it's totally up to you. But I'm telling you, when you go, and also too, when it's come to showing the property, you can say, hey, that's one of our hey, that's one of our guy at our company, that's one of our contractors, that's another partner at our company, hey, that's my CEO, that's my manager, that's my CFO, whatever it is, right? You can say whoever it is, because you're part now of a large company. So when you send people out there, you can say, hey, that's another contractor, crew of our guy, whatever it is, right? It's so much easier if you were just a one-man or one-woman show and trying to negotiate and trying to lock, and then when it comes to showing, it's just really hard to deal with, all right? So anyways, you guys, that's my personal opinion. And for those of you who want to crush it on the phone, I'm gonna share with you everything that I cover in my package deal. Is $495. It's my amazing seller script for virtual wholesaling. This is what I use. This is how I talk. This is the kind of question I ask the seller over the phone, and getting their commitment, all right, getting their commitment and locking property up on the contract over the phone without ever physically going out there, seeing it, meeting the seller, or seeing the property. And we're able to train any one of our employees up to be able to do it. So if I know that these girls know nothing about real estate and have no experience, and if they can do it just by following the script, knowing what to say, and if they can get property locked up on a contract, I believe that you can do it too, all right? Now, you know, I've said this in many of my videos. This is for those of you who is ready and who is committed, all right? This is for those of you who's ready and who's committed to this business, to make it successful, to change your life, to take wholesaling to the next level, and to be able to do your first wholesale deal, or maybe you want to scale up and start building a team, right? A lot of times, maybe you can talk to seller, but you can't take whatever you want it and transput it or put it into paper, so that way you can hire on your team and just hand it to them so they know exactly what to say. Because maybe every single time when you talk to seller, you say different things, and for them, they don't know, right? Because maybe you say different things when you talk to the seller. So how can someone else copy that? How can someone else copy that, all right? And that's what's my biggest problem too, when we're trying to hire people on. It's like, well, when I talk to seller, you know, there's I ask so many different questions. How can I get someone on, and it's going to take a long time to train that person, and what if that person leaves, then I got to hire on another one? So, you know, my wife and I start thinking about it. So, you know, you want to create a good system, a good system, right? And the employee doesn't have to be superstar. You want to create a good system, but the employee doesn't have to be superstar. All right, if you know what I mean. So you don't want a superstar, but not a good system. So which means now you got to go out and you got to search for superstar. It's hard to find superstar, but it's much better to find average and normal people to put in a great system. So that's why, you know, I sit down and say, well, what kind of question do I normally ask seller, and how do we do it so that way the employee that we hire on can actually make it so simple that they can do it too. And you guys, we sat down, we do overtime. You know, over time, I change things to make it better and better, and we have put a package deal. And I believe that for those of you who's having trouble talking to seller and having trouble converting leads into deals, because if you're getting tons of calls coming in, right? If you're getting calls and calls and calls, and you're talking to seller after seller, but you're having trouble converting those leads into deals, it's the exact same thing that happens to me when I first started, is because your communication and your skills of talking to seller needs to be improved, because you don't know how to talk to them and you don't know how to ask the right question. Trust me, I thought it was because because they're not motivated, but it's not just that, but because you don't know how to talk to them, and you can lose on deals. And I've lost on tons of deals. I lost on deals where it cost me about $30,000, $40,000. And how I know is because the investor that tied that property up on a contract sent it over to me, see if I have, any buyer for it. And I told them that, hey, I talked to that seller as well, but he able to get under contract for way less than I did, because he was a better communicator and talking to seller, and I wasn't. Knowing what I know now, I would have crushed him, I would have dominated him, right? And now I'm able to tie you up on the contract, and there's other investors that would go out and see the seller and see the property and say, and they couldn't get it under contract because they couldn't close it, right? You gotta pitch, and then, but you gotta pitch it to the seller, and then you gotta be able to close it, which means you gotta be able to get their commitment and get them locked up, and get their commitment and get them locked up, all right? Because you can't just pitch, but you got to close, right? You got to know how to execute and close the deal. All right, you guys. So anyways, you guys, everything included in my package deal, there's $495, no exchange, no refund. The only exchange or refund that you're going to get is in yourself when you do that first wholesale deal. And you guys, it's $495, and included in there, obviously, the two-part seller script, the incoming call when you first talk to the seller, and then the outbound calls when you actually make the offer to the seller. I walk you guys through it. I do a video on it. I share with you exactly how I talk to the seller, line by line, question by question, how to handle the objections. I included in there is the purchase and sell contract between you and the seller, the addendum contract between you and the seller and you and the buyer in case you have to change something in the agreement, the assignment agreement between you and the end buyer, the double closing contract between you and the end buyer in case you want to do a double closing, And in all of our contract, it protects us. All right, it's going to protect you. All right, in all of my contracts, it's going to protect you. Okay. But make sure that you get the contract review and things like that. Make sure that it works in your in the state that you're looking to wholesale in. Have the attorney or have the title company review it. But we have used this contract in multiple states already, and we never had any issue with them. Okay. So, and also included in there is the rehab and the ARV calculator, where I'm going to show you how to, take 3 comps that you found, punch it in, it'll spits out, it'll give you an average of what it thinks the property's worth. And also too is the rehab calculator, where if you figure out how much they charge per square footage for, light rehab, medium rehab, major rehab, you punch into the calculator, it'll spits out a number for you and give you roughly an estimate of what it thinks the rehab cost would be, so that way you can quickly determine and make an offer to the seller. And also too is I included in there is some live seller call. To me, is so important that you be able to have that experience. Listen to seller. What kind of question do they ask? How do you talk to them? How do you come back, ask them the questions to get them to come down on price, etc. You can't just ask them, hey, is that the best you can do? Oh, could you see, could you go any lower than that? Is that the least you take? You can't just ask that. You have to be able to give them a reason why they need to drop their price, and I'll share with you in my script those questions that you need to ask, and I got seller coming down that you can listen to in the you can listen on the live seller calls that I got. Sellers wanting 250 came down to 200 without me putting out the price first. There's a seller that wants it 250. She came down to all the way to 180 something. And you guys, once you know how to talk to seller, and once you being able to know how to ask these questions, getting them to drop the price will be much easier than you think it is. All right, so anyways, you guys, if you are interested in buying it, hit the link in the description below, and hit the link in the description below. It's $4.95, no exchange, no refund. But I promise you that when you use this and you're able to do your first wholesale deal virtually and able to tie it up on a contract over the phone, it's gonna blow you away. I promise. All right, you guys. So anyways, you guys, thank you so much for every single one of you guys that have purchased the package. And before I end this video here, I almost forgot, and I didn't want to leave this out. For those of you who purchased the package deal, I am going to continue doing this for you guys, all right? And I'm going to send it to you guys in your email. Is that I will upload, is that I will continue sending you over live seller calls so you can listen to, whether it's me on the phone, whether it's one of my employee on the phone, or a purchase manager on the phone. But I will be able to send that over to you, so you so that's something I will just keep on doing for you guys. For those of you who's going to purchase this package deal, I'm going to continue doing that for you guys. All right. So, because to me, that was one of the biggest thing that I needed when I first started out. I sent out my marketing, I did everything, but talking to seller was actually one of my most weakness. And I wasn't able to convert the leads that comes in into deals. I spent $1,000 a month marketing for 6 months, and I got no deal from it. I got a lot of calls, you guys. I got a lot of calls that comes in, but I wasn't able to convert them because I didn't know how to talk to them. All right. So anyways, for those of you who's interested, the link is in the description. You guys, I'll see you guys at the top. Take care, you guys. And I really hope that this is going to add lots of value to you, and it's going to make a huge impact in your business. All right, take care. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.